What's up, average Joe readers? I am here to do a book tag, which I never thought I would do. Most, generally, most book tags I don't have a lot of interest in. They might not appeal to me, or they're just, I couldn't do them because, like, some of them have to do with library and finding books, and my books are scattered all over the house. But Maddison tagged me in this one, and I thought this one was actually kind of fun to do, and I also put my own little twist on it. So it is called the Choose Your Own Adventure book tag. And the original creator of this was Johanna. And Madison tagged me in this, and both of them I will try to link in the description for that, for theirs. And what it is choosing characters, specific characters from books and series that mean certain things. And I put a little twist on this one myself. To There are nine different questions for nine different characters, and I wanted to challenge myself to only use one character from each series, each world, well, each series, because the worlds are or whatever. But if not, I could have done all. I literally could have done all nine of these with Faithful and the Fallen or something like that. So I tried to do all. I limited myself to only one character per series, which made it a little more challenging, a little more. You gotta really pick and choose which one you really want. Yeah, several of my favorite series. It's really easy to pick the ones that you really like. So that is what I'm going to do. Alrighty. So the first question is fantasy twin. Name a character you can relate to on a personal level. And this one, this might be a bit of a reach. I don't know if I'm thinking too much of myself. I don't know what. Most people might be doing that for this, but I'm going to go with Brasti Goodbow from the Greatcoat series. Brasti is awesome. He is hilarious. He is very fun. He's definitely the comic relief in this. I definitely make jokes when I shouldn't, just like he does. He's always joking. There are times though, once he gets puts over the edge, he is over the edge, and you don't want to mess with him. But mostly, he is the lightheartedness jokester, and also a bit of a complainer, which I could see myself doing in these situations as well. So I could totally see that. He's definitely also a womanizer that I'm not even going to get into. But if I were to pick one weapon or thing to be in a fantasy world that I would be awesome at, it would probably be archery. And Brasti is the best archer. So that's got to be mine because Brasti is awesome, and he is hilarious, and just the wit and the banter back and forth with him and the rest of them. Uh, Also with Kest, is he's always kind of playfully jealous with Kest, and I think I always find myself with some friends that are just, no matter what, they're probably gonna be better than me at stuff. Even though I'm not bad, I usually find friends that are just happen to be really awesome at stuff. So I guess I can relate to that a little bit. So I would definitely have to say Brasti Goodbow for the first one. The next one is your fantasy hero, and that is name a character that you aspire to be like. This one was probably the last one that I chose. It was a little bit harder to pick. And I went with, I guess it's a little bit of recency as well. I went with a Clay or Slowhand from Kings of the Wild. I just think Clay is he is definitely has such a good heart. He is very noble, the strong silent type. He, where a lot of people might talk where you shouldn't, he definitely does not talk when he shouldn't. And even when he should, sometimes he just doesn't talk. And I think that can then really do good for a lot of people. And always just going into battle with his friends, being there with them. He is the shield that protects them. And I just think it's like how he acts is, he's started on the whole premise of the book. He started on that journey just for a friend, and just being there more for friends, for people when you really need them. I think is something that he really shined to be, and even going back to them to try and save them when he was mortally wounded, and things like this. And yeah, I would probably say he's somebody that you could learn a few really good lessons from. And he was in consideration for another one on this list later on as well. I didn't have a runner up for Fantasy Twin, but I'd probably say my runner up for Hero would be Falkio from the Great Coats. But since I already chose Brasti, Gregos is already taken. Everybody knows about Falkia, who's read that, is the king of valor. He is the most, or probably should have been the saint of valor, if there was one. So the champion next is the champion. That is, choose a character to be your champion in a duel. And again, Falcao probably would have been good on this one, but sometimes he kind of doesn't really get out of duels too well. I'm going to go with Hadrian Blackwater on this, and that is Hadrian from the Ryer Revelation / Chronicles. He is awesome, awesome swordsman, very humble, knows all the trades there are to sword play, and is a trained knight of a secret ancient order, blah, blah, blah. Not to give too much away. And yeah, I just don't see him losing in a 1-to-1 battle if it's man versus man. Uh, Hadrian is just really, really awesome. I love Rare Revelations. I think he could do really well for me. I should really should have pulled out the quote for this, but it was in like the very first chapter of the very first book. Something about, a man carries one sword. He might know how to use it. A man carries two swords. He's trying to make you think he knows how to use it, but doesn't. And a man who carries three swords, you really don't want to mess with, because why would you carry three swords unless you're really awesome with them? So yeah, Hadrian's got to be my guy. My runner-up from this would probably be 100% Macon, or Makeen, whatever, however you say his name, from Faithful and Fallen. Dude's a pit fighter. I mean, why would you not? He came out of all those pits and fighting in those tournaments and all the wars and everything, and did some stuff that I can't really reveal for spoilers. But yeah, I think he would basically kill everyone and everything. But I just think Hadrian would be much more fun to hang out with in between than Macon would be. Unlikable character. Name a character you love to hate. Pretty much only one character jumped out at me. There's definitely been characters along the way that I really haven't liked. I probably would have gone with Rafe or Raph from Faithful and the Fallen. He is just a terrible person that I would, you were waiting to be killed in an ugly way. And even yeah, I would have loved his death to happen several times, because he was just awful. But I needed to save a better one for Faithful and the Fallen. But the one I'm going to go with is Risa, Risa, something, however you say that, from the Seven Realms Quartet. And this is a YA series, and that's probably why it's on here as well, because it is the main female protagonist in a YA series. And you can probably guess why it's on here and why she is so annoying and so dumb and just terrible to read. And that's because of not only the love triangle she puts herself in, but it's a love square, because it's three different guys. And she is so, so dumb. And I think what makes it even worse is the fact that there are times where she is like the strong, forward, commanding female. It's like, okay, cool, that's a good side. Let's keep doing that. And then she's just so naive and so stupid so many times. And then the three guys are terrible. At least two of them are absolutely terrible. The other one's the main protagonist, and like even that is just like a weird dynamic. But the other two, one of them literally kidnaps her two times, forces her to marry her under like some slave thing, like where she can't control her actions, and then she just later on forgives him and goes, "Yeah, you can court me, but it has to be during the day, so let's slow down here." Yeah. I vented so much while reading this series. I almost didn't want to finish it because of it, but there were parts of it that were pretty interesting that I wanted to finish just to see how it turned out. But I was definitely venting to my wife about this stupid girl so much. She was awful. Next, Tavern Buddy. Name a character with whom you'd want to have a drink or spend a night on the town. I think it's got to be Tyrion Lannister. I think he would be a lot of fun. He is a classy drinker that can sit and read and talk and do those kinds of things. I'm not much of a party or crazy person like that. I think it would be fun to just have intellectual drinking, but he definitely has fun. He always has his ladies, of course, but we can just sit and talk about all kinds of stuff, have all kinds of fun, drink plenty of wine, drink and know things. That's kind of the name of my game. I drink and I know things. So I think Tyrion would be a lot of fun for those reasons. I wouldn't feel obligated to get crazy or get in fights or anything like that some other drinking characters might do. 6, a villain. Name a character with whom you would not want to cross paths with. There's definitely been a lot of several villains. He shows up in several books. So I'll just say it's Randall Flagg from the multiverse. From the main one I've only read him in is Eyes of the Dragon. And I know he shows up in The Stand, which I am about to read at some point this year. But Eyes of the Dragon and Gunslinger, of course. Randall Flagg's creepy. He was definitely the creepy guy in the Eyes of the Dragon. He was meant to be very evil, very sinister. People always steered away from him. If you cross him, he will just kill you in a second. He'll poison you, do whatever he wants to manipulate you. I wouldn't even want to be in the any immediate vicinity if he thinks I could be useful. And yeah, that could probably just go bad for me real well. So, and I don't need to be near evil wizards. I think they're just the worst. Anybody else, I feel like you can avoid, but wizards, you can only do so much. Mentor: name a character you would want to learn from or have as a mentor, and that would be this is my faithful and fallen one, and that would be Gar. I know this Maddison had the same one, and it was just funny because as she was reading it, that was just the first one that popped in my head, and like that would be it. Yep, it's got to be Gar. He's definitely the protective, fatherly type, and he's an awesome, excellent master swordsman that knows horses. I think that will really come in handy, as obvious it is in Faithful and the Fallen. So he can teach me to be an awesome swordsman and all kinds of lessons and always be there. And yeah, I think that would be a really good mentor. This is the one that I considered Slowhand for as well. I think Slowhand could totally be a mentor. However, he's a little bit too silent of the strong silent type, so I don't know how much you could actually learn from him. You might have to drag out any lessons from Slowhand, but Gar I think would be fantastic. Samwise: name a character who you could trust or be your best friend. This one I went to David from the Reckoners, and this one might be whoever's read the Reckoners might not agree with this at all. Might be a little bit, uh, I guess I don't know about controversial, but a lot of people didn't like David in the Reckoners. People were kind of trashing on him because he is really silly and kind of ridiculous and dumb at times and fawns over a girl, but I absolutely loved him. I think he was awesome. I think the whole thing with the girl part is a pet peeve of mine when people don't understand it, I guess you could say. But that's a whole another thing. Some of the sayings that David has, they get a bit too much. He gets a little bit weird. He makes up his own metaphors and they don't really make sense. But a good number of them made me laugh out loud, and I have them. I have a ton highlighted in my Kindle version to go back through and listen, and I'll still laugh at him. He is definitely there for your friends. He's always optimistic. That's one thing that they say in those books that people would always turn to him as the books went on later and later, is because he always had hope. He always had optimism, and he would always do whatever to get things done and for his friends, and insurmountable odds as well, because he's a normal person going up against superheroes. Just no quit. I think that's kind of what you need. No quit and optimism with a light heart was perfect for a Samwise. And lastly, found family. If you could adopt one character, give it a home, who would it be? This one was actually the hardest to figure out, but once I thought of it, it was like, oh, done, easy, no going back. And this would be the best one. I know all the people with the dog companions and things like that would be cool. I thought about Craft from Faithful and Fallen as well, which I could actually just use for a Blood and Bone, different series, kind of a cheap one there. But this one, it's not nearly a pet. It's kind of a weird area, but it's got to be Bob the Skull from Dresden Files. I'm giving it a home. It's not necessarily a pet. It's not, a child that I'm adopting, but it's Bob the Skull. I mean, he's a 300 or 400-year-old being that I can just have knowledge with, talk to. He could be in my office. We can shoot the shit. I can let him go on free. I can send him on errands, and I can let him go free every once in a while for on day passes, and he can tell me about all the craziness he gets into and have him possess certain pets and things like that. I think it would be really awesome. Bob the Skull has to be the surefire runaway answer on this one. I'm just going to go and say it now. But there is the Choose Your Adventure book tag. I don't know how many book tags I'm going to do. This one was just kind of fun. I think I also did it because I wanted to challenge. I was curious to see what I would put on these, and for what I would do for one per series. I think that's an added challenge if anybody wants to do that. I'm not going to tag anybody in this because I don't know too many people in the booktube space yet. I'm still kind of getting my feet under me. But if you like it, go ahead and do it. I'll try and put the answers and the questions on these at the bottom of the video, and let me know what you think of some of my questions and answers. If you would agree to some of them or have any thoughts toward them, let me know and let's talk about it.